quite possibly the most skilled fighter, the most skilled striker, I should say, on planet Earth right now. K1 tournament champion, former One Championship champion, Chingiz Allazov. He hasn't fought in a long time, but he's reportedly going to karate combat next, which is interesting. I've raided his TikTok for training clips. Let's break them down. Now, he's known for his kicks. His kicks are incredible, but there's not a lot of clips of him throwing kicks in the gym. Here, he's got his shoes on and he's just practicing his left kick with no wind-up. It's phenomenal how little wind-up there is. It's almost like there's a rubber band around his opponent's head and it's pulling the leg towards his head rather than Chinga's having to pick it up and throw it. It's incredible. He gets that pivot, he gets that whip of the hip open. Because he's slightly square when he starts, he can just pull his right shoulder back as he kicks, and that's generating the force. And when he doubles up on his kicks, he's always putting his leg behind. He's not kicking with the left foot and then putting it in front and then kicking it again. He kicks with the left and he lands back into southpaw for a moment so he can kick again. He's always putting it behind, especially on these repeat kicks. You can be the judge of this kind of training etiquette, just throwing hard kicks to his training partner with shoes on in the gym. Obviously more of a boxing gym, so it doesn't have that kind of jiu-jitsu gym footwear rules. Here, he's putting together combinations. He's going hook, cross, hook, body hook, head hook, cross, and he's framing off. So he always has an exit. Sometimes we see people finish on a right hand with a combination that don't have a defined exit. But here he's using the frame. Imagine he's fighting like a taller bloke. He's using the frame, and see how that frame, he pushes towards the top of his padman's head here. So we'll put it back a little bit. He pushes towards the top of the padman's head as he pushes out with that left arm. That's good defense there. It's good for keeping distance and stopping people stepping inside. And also as he reaches to the top of the head, it's going to keep the shoulder and the tricep up to defend against potential overhand rights. He's not reaching his arm out and down. Some people get a tired delt and then they get lazy as they frame out. It's a good option if you want to keep your distance off of the right hand. Then he's going to frame away an uppercut and pivot left. It's a good option when he's throwing that uppercut to pivot left. Obviously, you throw a right uppercut, the opening is going to be on that side to the left hook. Sometimes you see people make that mistake. They'll throw a right uppercut and then drift to their own right. That's drifting towards a left hook that you've got no protection against. Probably one of the best examples, or worst examples you could say, is Mitch Gagnon when he fought Henan Barrow. Shout out to that Jack Slack breakdown article a long time ago. He would throw that right uppercut and then drift towards his right, and eventually he got dropped with a left hook. Now he's using the aqua bag, the water bag, a lot of pushing, leaning into the bag, so he's really practicing for power, getting that whip into the cross, into the hook, really dragging the opposite shoulder. And when he throws this left uppercut from southpaw, you can see that he's projecting his hips. It's almost more like a kick with the arm than it is just swinging the arm in. He's swinging the arm, but it's coming from the hips. So there he pivots off. When he's orthodox, you see in a lot of these videos, he'll pivot off to the left a lot. You know, he finishes on a backhand, but he will pivot out. Generally, your exits, you're pivoting, you're rolling, or you're pushing back out if you're finishing on that right hand. Here he's finishing on the left hook. He's using the right straight more as a tap to set up a hard left hook. We see Pereira do this a lot. We see Roy Jones do this a lot, where they lead with the right straight, but they're kind of throwing it more at jab intensity to leverage into the left hook after, or to incentivize people to slip. So as they slip, they head back to the center line. Boom, they get caught with that left hook. Very useful, very effective, not throwing both shots at full power. You'll often see people tap a jab and then swing a right hand. It's also good to tap that right straight and then put the emphasis, the power on the left hook. Most of his training clips are like this, where he's putting together longer boxing combinations. Most of his training clips are boxing. He's mixing in the shoulder roll here. You know, he's going jab cross into shoulder roll. See how he points his left elbow up? He doesn't leave it down by the hip. That left elbow is going to point up, so that adds a little bit of frame. And if someone catches a punch on your elbow, likely they're going to hurt the fist. Moving in a lot of different angles. Here he lands on the right straight to finish and he rolls out. That's another one of the exits I mentioned off of the right straight, because as you throw your right straight, the opening is going to be for that counter left hook. You can see he's throwing his right straight, but there's this time between. It's a race. Your right hand coming back to the chin, whilst this is the worst arrow in history, but your right hand coming back to the chin, or is their left hook going to meet the chin first? So what he's doing is he's just rolling out. Classic boxing. A lot of the time when you see people throw a punch and then they roll after, and you see it on the slow-mo replays, kind of Pacquiao versus Ricky Hatton style, you think, how can he throw a punch and then react so quickly and have such a good reaction time? A lot of the time, it comes from shadowboxing, and they just know what's open, and they get used to rolling out. They get used to throwing a right straight and rolling out, or if southpaw, a right hook and rolling out, which Chingiz Allazov is incredibly good at, that kind of Manila ice right hook. He did that loads against Murat Grigorian. When he was getting back to the ropes, he'd step back southpaw, throw a right hook, expecting the left hook return from Grigorian. He would roll out and step outside and combine it with a pivot against the orthodox Grigorian. Here, tempo changing on the combinations. This is something we would see on Raymond Decker's combinations. If you watch a lot of his pad work combinations, there's not loads of footage of it, but Raymond Decker's was always really good for hitting these pad combinations where he'd go fast, fast, a few power shots, fast, 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 a few power shots, especially mixing the head and the body. Here, he's teaching Nabil Anane, very interesting, and he's teaching Nabil a way to deal with a long guard. A lot of people use a long guard, especially if they don't want to get clinched, they'll frame out with it and step back. But here he's teaching the stance switch to get on that outside foot position. So if someone's long guarding here and you're orthodox, it can be hard to get inside. But he's teaching him to switch his stance with that knee feint so he can get his foot on the outside. Then this long guard's not as useful because he can hit the right hook around the top and then dig the left straight through the middle. Boom. Let's go back a few times. It's possibly giving up a lot of distance for someone like Nabil to use this a lot. I've gone back, you'll get to see his boxing combinations again. But it's possibly giving up a lot of distance for someone like Nabil, someone that tall, to dive in and cover that amount of distance. But Nabil's knees and clinch game is so dangerous that if he ends up in close, it's not an issue. He's just going to pull the head down. He's just going to snap him down into the knees. But he's giving him a little feint, seeing that he's stepping back. Then he's feinting with the right knee to get that outside foot position. Outside foot position can be very hard to get in a pure boxing contest. But when you can knee feint, you can pretty much knee feint and then just step the foot down outside. Here, Chingiz is just practicing his left kick. Here, he's opening up on that foot a lot. When he's landing on the heel, which a lot of like pure Thai boxing coaches would say you don't want to land the kick and have your heel in contact with the floor. But if you watch most of Cro Cop's left high kick knockouts, his heel's on the floor. If you've got the flexibility for it, some people are a bit more balanced. And we can see brilliant arm position here. His shoulders aren't square. He's looking over his lead shoulder, his left shoulder, as he throws a left kick, and this hand is in the perfect position for defense. He's such a closed target. He's not square up where he can get caught with a straight shot down the middle. He's looking over his shoulder, presenting this really small target. All someone potentially has is a right straight to the liver. Not a right straight to the liver, just a right straight to that side of the body. It's not a very clean connection. They've kind of got to take the kick and then respond, which gives Chingiz time to defend. See, he's just stepping in with the power kick. He uses his kicks so tricky and in so many different ways, but he'll practice it in a simple way. He'll just step in and throw powerful. Think about how Jorge Masvidal, or George Masvidal, however you pronounce it, how many good body kicks he's landed in his MMA career. And then when you watch his training, when he's throwing body kicks, it's super basic. He literally just bangs a simple body kick one at a time into the pads like a Thai fighter. And then you watch Michelle Waterson, who missed about 90% of her kicks in her career. She was doing all these mad, bizarre kicking drills, and she never really landed quality kicks. Although she had incredible dexterity, she never really landed quality kicks. So you can't underrate just standing in front of a bag, taking your time, and lamping the bag with good quality kicks, taking the step in. A lot of Thais talk about adding that step in for power, distance, and you get more conditioning of the shin. And then we're going to finish with some shadow boxing, mixing levels on the jab. He's throwing that right straight. And then as well, he's switching stance and he's throwing pretty much immediately on the stance switch. It's an intentional stance switch. We see Art of the Double Threat talking about this a lot, talking about people switching stance intentionally. When you switch stance unintentionally, that's when you leave yourself open. But he's throwing that 1-2, pulling back. He's going to go head, body, head with the jab. And then he's going to switch stance and throw immediately. One of the advantages of switching stances is you've completely changed the dynamic of the fight, but you've premeditated it. You're ready for the difference in footwork, the difference in foot position, because you are aware of the stance switch. But we see a lot of people switch stance and they'll bounce around for 10 or 15 seconds in that new stance and they're not really using it. Whereas Chingiz Allazov is one of the best stance switches of all time. It's kind of based on the fundamental stance switches that a Rob Kamen would use, but he's really supercharged a lot of it with his super dexterous lead leg. Like he'll kick and step back southpaw into hard hand combinations. He'll switch on the spot. He'll switch into a spinning kick. He'll throw combinations. He'll feint with the hand. See, he throws a little feint off of the left hand and then steps back southpaw and then throws hard again. Finish him with shadow boxing. You can always judge the quality of a fighter, or the people who learn the best are generally the people who will spend a very long time shadowboxing, not necessarily going straight to the bag. The people who learn the best generally spend a lot of time shadowboxing. I've rambled about one of the best strikers of all time. I've finally done a little training breakdown video of him. I've broken down his K1 tournament run where he ran through everyone. But Chingiz Allazov, absolutely amazing. I've never watched karate combat before, but if there's a guy to make me watch it, it's probably Chingiz Allazov. He's got some amazing training clips as well showing Merab Dvalishvili techniques. It's a very interesting TikTok he's got. Subscribe, let me know who I should break down next. Any recommendations for the channel, let me know. I'll just keep pumping things out steadily. I'll probably do a Fazia video. Boxing for MMA has a compilation, incredible channel, but they haven't uploaded anything for a while. Peace out.